Today we're going to be reviewing the Magene C606, a GPS bike computer with a color touchscreen, navigation capabilities, smart alerts, and indoor training support. It also has a small ecosystem of complementary devices that it integrates with rather nicely. What makes this head unit attractive is the fact that it punches well above its weight. You get all this for only $160. In this review, we'll talk about where this device stands relative to other bike computers, do a brief unboxing and setup, talk about its GPS accuracy, navigation capabilities, smart alerts, and usability. Finally, I'll help you decide whether this bike computer is a good fit for you. We'll start by setting the stage with what level of bike computer this is. First, we have simple devices that use fiddly magnetic sensors to detect speed and cadence with no GPS support. Consequently, they don't sync with Strava or similar apps. Our next tier has devices that require more advanced ANT+ or Bluetooth sensors, and they have GPS support too, so they can record your route and upload it to Strava. However, they have simple displays which cannot display maps and therefore do not have any navigation capabilities. Now we come to the Magene C606. It has a relatively large color touchscreen that can display maps, and it supports turn-by-turn navigation. The device has 3 physical buttons, but the touchscreen makes it much easier to configure and control the device on the go. It integrates interestingly with complementary devices, and finally, you can use it to control workouts on your smart trainer. If you're new to this space, you're probably wondering, well, what else could you want? What else could a bike computer do? There's a lot actually, but we'll cover that at the end of this video. In the box, besides the C606 itself, you get the user manual, a simple mount that you can attach with O-rings to your handlebar, a safety strap, and a USB-C charging cable. You do not get an out-front mount or sensors, which will need to be separately purchased. Magene has detailed videos covering setup, so I will only cover this at a high level. You need to install the OneLab app, use that to connect to and activate the C606, and get it to connect to your Wi-Fi network. Wi-Fi isn't necessary, but it'll make further steps go faster. If you got a Strava account, you can connect the app to your account, so it'll sync all your rides automatically. While not mandatory, I would recommend getting at least a cadence sensor and maybe a heart rate monitor. You can get them from Magene, but any ANT+ or Bluetooth sensor will work. This is a good time to pair them with your head unit, and you have the option of doing that via the app or directly on the device. With this, you're somewhat ready to go out and start riding, but there are a few additional settings I'd recommend you make. Turn off the auto lap setting. It really doesn't make sense for most riders. Next, download maps for your region. I believe it took about 30 minutes to download maps for India, which is slow, but it did work without a hitch. In the app, add bikes you intend to use the computer with. It's important to choose the right tire circumference so the unit can accurately calculate your speed. I would also recommend selecting a riding mode, like road for instance, and taking the time to review the existing data screens and customize them. There are over 100 data fields available. I changed the first page and added a page to display lap-specific data. Now these ride modes you see are an interesting feature, most useful if you ride multiple bikes. Say you have a road bike which has a power meter, but you also ride an MTB which doesn't. Your road bike riding mode could have a page or two organized around power data, while you can configure an entirely different set of pages for your MTB riding mode. The last thing we'll do before we actually set off on a ride is add a route to the device. You can create a basic 2-point route on the app itself, but I'd recommend you export a GPX file from a site like Strava or Komoot and then import it into the app. The next time you connect your device, you will need to import the route explicitly before you start the ride. There's more you can set up, but let's just get out and start riding already. Before you start riding, you should wait to acquire a GPS signal. You'll know that happens when the GPS icon on the top stops flashing. Your sensors can connect after the ride starts as they wake up. Now this device has GPS support, and what that means is as long as your ephemeris data is valid, the device will acquire a lock faster. In my experience, except in a couple of instances, I never had to wait more than a minute for a lock. This device does not have multi-band GPS support, but in my tests riding around my city and taking on a few climbs in the hills, the GPS data remained fairly accurate. When it comes to navigation, if you didn't choose a route at the start of your ride, when you pause your ride, you can select from a list of routes already on the device. If you're too far away from this route, the device will basically just tell you and won't provide any navigation assistance. If you go off route, but you're close, you'll get a red line that points back to the route with beeps from the protesting device. However, if you have your app connected, it will attempt to reroute for you, and you'll get an updated route that will take you back on track. I used the navigation to help me get a few tiles, basically riding in areas I had never ridden before, having to take specific roads to complete my ride. It worked very well. The navigation cards made it easy to anticipate upcoming turns, and it was easy to follow the route on the map. A couple of disadvantages around navigation though. You can't move around the map using the touchscreen or buttons. All you can do is zoom in and zoom out around your current location. And next, you can't zoom out enough. There are only 3 zoom levels, with the map displaying an area of 300 square meters when fully zoomed in to perhaps around 2 square kilometers when fully zoomed out. So if you're farther away from your route, say you've gone significantly off course, you won't be able to see your route on the map, nor will you be able to see a bird's eye view of it. Hopefully this is something Magene will be able to address. Another fairly useful capability is the smart notification system, which becomes more flexible if you happen to have other Magene devices, like its armband heart rate monitor and its tail light or radar unit. You create triggers based on a number of conditions like your speed, elapsed time, or heart rate, and have it display notifications on the head unit, change the mode of your light, or cause your armband to vibrate. For example, if my heart rate gets beyond 165, the device will show a heart rate too high notification and my armband will vibrate. Or, when I stop, my tail light could switch to showing a steady light and start flashing when I start riding again. If the app is running on your phone, you'll also see call and message notifications on the device. If this is important for you, you may need to adjust your phone settings to ensure it doesn't kill the app due to inactivity. Let's talk about ease of use when you're out on the bike. The touchscreen is easy to see in all light conditions, and even when riding in the rain, it works just fine, responding to your fingers, not raindrops. The display remained clear and did not fog up. Switching through screens, changing routes, checking notifications, setting up sensors, and configuring the device can all be done rather intuitively through the touchscreen. It isn't as sensitive as your phone and will need a slightly firmer touch, but that's not really a problem. Even though the device has 3 physical buttons, I find myself using only the top button for the lap function. I've gotten so used to the touchscreen that it's now going to be difficult using a device without one. When you end your ride, if your device is in Wi-Fi range, it will sync your ride directly. If not, just open the OneLap Fit app on your phone to sync it. If you're connected to Strava, you can review your ride data there. Irrespective of the bike you chose on the device, the ride will always get attributed to your default bike on Strava. This is a miss which I hope Magene can correct. If you don't use Strava, the app shows you all your ride details, laps, speed, gradient, heart rate, etc. You can expand all the graphs and even zoom in for more precise info. The only complaint I have is that when you're looking at a list of rides, there is no route outline, which makes it easier to find the ride you're looking for. With my testing over the last couple of months, I put the battery life of this device between 13 and 15 hours. The number of devices connected affects battery life, and my estimate includes 4 connected devices: a speed sensor, a cadence sensor, a heart rate monitor, and the tail light. With navigation being used on and off, this is pretty decent. If you find yourself running out of battery on a ride, you can enable long battery mode, which keeps the screen off unless you press a button, disconnects sensors, and disables notifications while still recording your route with GPS. I haven't tested this, but it's supposed to nearly double your battery life. Alright, let's tie this up in a bow. Should you buy this? If you're someone who goes on a couple of short rides a week, say for about an hour or so, you could possibly get by with just your smartphone paired with some sensors. If you ride frequently, you'd like an always-on display with core stats, and your primary focus is getting your ride recorded, but you don't care for features like navigation or a fancy display, you can buy an entry-level GPS computer like the BSC100S or Magene's own C406. Now, if you want a head unit that supports navigation, and when I say navigation, I mean with a map that looks like Google Maps, not an Atari game. At $159, the Magene C606 is a great buy. Other key capabilities that are hard to find at this price point are the color touchscreen and its flexible notification system, which integrates with other devices in its ecosystem. It looks good with solid build quality, it has a decent battery life, a highly configurable display, and indoor training support. I'm so happy with it that for now it's replaced my Wahoo Element. Now, if you rely on navigation a lot, need to create routes on the go with offline rerouting, or maybe even need navigation for off-road MTB trails, the C606's navigation capabilities fall short. It also does not have features like Strava Live segments, climb stats, or multiband GPS for areas where your surroundings make getting a GPS signal tricky. If these capabilities are important for you, you'll need to look for a higher end and obviously more expensive device. I hope this video helps you make a purchase decision regarding the C606. Watch this playlist for more reviews and drop a comment below if you have any questions. Until next time, ride safe.